Hey ladies, we are at it again. We are at it again. I am so excited. Thank you for joining me today. Welcome to Spillin' My Cup, a special segment of my Spillin' Tea podcast. This is where I get real. This is where I relate. This is where I tell my story. When I speak on my podcast, a lot of what I say comes from experience, but not every episode is about me. Sometimes I'm here to just give advice, to offer insight, to share tips, but don't ever think for a second that I don't go through the same things. Because trust me, I do. I have. And that's why I created Spillin' My Cup, a space where I can lay it all out, where I can share my truth, my struggles, my lessons, and my growth. Because sometimes we go through things, we survive them, but actually telling our stories, that takes another level of strength. Some of us can live through it, push through it, but when it comes time to speak on it, we freeze. We stay silent. We hold it in. But not here. Not in this space. So I hope you ladies can relate to this segment. I hope it speaks to you, heals you, and reminds you that you're not alone. Because self-love, it's not a one and done thing. It's not okay, I got self-love, problem solved. No, sis, self-love is a practice. It's a journey. It's a commitment that you make to yourself every single day. And let me tell you, some days it's hard as hell. But we must keep going. We must keep choosing ourselves. And this is part of my self-love journey. Speaking my truth, owning my story. Growing in ways I never have before. And I'm so grateful that you're here. Ladies, today, I want to take you into a chapter of my life that really defined my journey towards self-love. It was a time when I was stuck in a cycle. I loved myself, but I wasn't fully happy with the life I was living. I felt like my back was against the door, and no matter how much I tried to pull it together, there was something inside me that wasn't aligned. Can you relate? Like you know you're capable of more, but something's holding you back, and that something is you? I felt like I was constantly fighting, not with the world, not with other people, but with myself. And that's when I developed what I call a me versus me mentality. It was like there were two versions of me inside, the greater me, the one that wanted more, knew my worth, my strength, and my potential, and the weaker me, the one filled with self-doubt, afraid to let go of what I had, the one with fear and excuses. Girl, it was a battle, a war between I and me. I knew I deserved better, and it was me who feared starting over. I knew I wanted to grow, but it was me who clung to comfort. Ladies, that weaker me won countless of times. Like I said, I love myself, but I just wasn't happy. I felt like the world was closing in on me. Life wasn't going the way I wanted it to. Like I was existing, going through life, trying to be strong, but I wasn't truly living. I was barely surviving. Moments I would try to stand up, but every time I tried to push forward again, that voice of doubt will whisper, but what if you fail? What if you lose everything? What if this is as good as it gets? And I listened. I stayed in situations that drained me because they felt familiar. I stayed in jobs I didn't love because I needed stability. I stayed in relationships where I wasn't valued because I told myself, you already invested so much time, why leave now? I stayed friends with people who hurt me because I convinced myself they just don't think like I do. I stayed silent when family betrayed me because family is supposed to be forever, right? Time after time, I kept looking outside of myself for answers. I would think if I could just fix this situation, or if that person could just see my worth, maybe I'll feel better. Girl, none of that works. I had to realize it was never about them. It was always about me. I realized that weaker version of me, the one who stayed quiet, played small, and doubted herself, was holding the stronger version of me hostage. And I had to face it. I had to look myself in the mirror and say, it's you versus you, since no one's coming to save you. It's time to have your own back. So what does me versus me really mean? It's about recognizing that the only person standing in your way is you. But it's also about understanding that you have the power to be your own hero. It's a mindset where you stop looking outside for validation, love, or approval and start working on the only relationship that really matters, the one with yourself. Think of it like this. Inside you, there are two versions. The greater version of you, the one who knows her worth, set boundaries, and goes after her dreams. And the weaker version, who's scared of change, lets fear take over, and settles for less. In the me versus me battle, you have to make a choice every single day about which version of you is going to win. And trust me, it's not easy. Some days the greater me will show up and fight. Other days the weaker me will drag me down. But the important part is that I never stopped fighting for me. I was breaking myself down and building myself up. There were times I gave my all and still ended up falling. Times I poured everything into a job, showed up every day, worked hard, and deep down I hated it. I was scared to leave, scared that if I did, I wouldn't find better. What if I never made more money? What if I couldn't provide for my child? So I stayed. And every day, a little more of me disappeared. There were times I stayed in relationships knowing I wasn't being loved the way I deserved. But I stayed. Because I had already done my time, I convinced myself that things would get better. And that leaving would mean starting over. And starting over felt scarier than staying in something that wasn't fulfilling me. In my friendships, girl, I let things slide. I let people hurt me because I told myself maybe they didn't mean it. I made excuses for them. I silenced my own hurt because I didn't want to cause drama. Family, that kind of betrayal cuts differently. That kind of hurt lingers in ways no other pain does. Because when your own blood wounds you, who do you run to? I knew I had to choose a side. I had to stop running. I had to stop breaking myself down for the comfort of others. I had to stop telling myself that I needed to stick it out in places that were killing me. I had to look in the mirror and ask myself, who am I really fighting? It wasn't them. It wasn't my job. It wasn't my relationships. It was me. It was me keeping myself stuck. Me convincing myself to stay in places I had outgrown. Me making excuses for people who had already shown me who they were. Me holding on to a life that I knew wasn't serving me. That's when I realized this world wasn't me versus the world. It was me versus me. Would I let the stronger me win? The one who wanted more? The one who knew there was more? Or would I keep letting the fearful me hold me back? I got real with myself. I stopped blaming the world, the people around me, or my circumstances for how I felt. I said, this is my life and I'm responsible for how I live it. That kind of accountability is hard, but it's so freeing. Second, I blocked out the noise. And by noise, I mean all the opinions, distractions, and negativity that were keeping me stuck. I created space to just focus on me, my thoughts, my feelings, my needs. I stopped letting the world dictate who I should be and start listening to my own voice. Some days that meant just listening to music and journaling. Other days it was just sitting in silence and reflecting on what I really wanted for myself. Then I started showing up for myself like I would for my best friend. When the weak of me tried to take over with negative self-talk, I fought back. When she wanted to stay stuck, I pushed myself to take even the smallest steps forward. And when I fell, because let's be real, failure happens, I didn't beat myself up. I reminded myself that every step, even the hard ones, was part of my growth. It was me, choosing to win. Ladies, I chose me. I left the job and guess what? I found better. I left the relationships that weren't serving me and guess what? I found peace. I started using my voice in friendships, setting boundaries, demanding respect, and guess what? I found real sisterhood. I stopped expecting family to be people I wanted them to be and accepted them for who they were. And guess what? That freed me. It wasn't easy. It didn't happen overnight, but I learned that self-love isn't just about feeling good about yourself. It's about fighting for yourself, choosing the stronger version of you even when it's hard, even when it's lonely, even when it means walking away from everything familiar. If you are listening to this and you feel like you're fighting a battle within yourself, know this. You can win. You might be feeling the same way I did back then. Maybe your weaker self is running the show right now. She's telling you that you're not good enough, that it's too late to change, or that you don't have what it takes. But let me tell you something, she's lying. The stronger version of you, the one who's fearless, confident, and thriving, she's already inside you. She's waiting for you to choose her. So ask yourself, what can you do today to let the greater version of you win? Maybe it's setting a boundary, saying no to something that doesn't serve you, or just looking in the mirror and saying, I've got you. The truth about the me versus me mindset, it's not about being perfect. It's about progress. It's about showing up for yourself and choosing the greater you over and over again. Ladies, get real with yourself today. Take responsibility for your life and stop waiting for someone else to fix it. Create that space for you. Block out the noise, the opinions, the doubts, and the distractions, and focus on what you want. You don't have to go big. Start small. Choose one thing each day that moves you closer to the greater version of you. Maybe it's a positive affirmation or a goal you've been putting off. Every time you let the greater you win, no matter how small, celebrate it. You're building the foundation for your future self. I've fought battles that no one saw. Some of them I won, but too many I lost. For so long, I thought my biggest fight was against the world, against the people who doubted me, against the circumstances that tried to break me, the love I gave that was never returned. But I see it now. My real fight was always against myself, and for a while, I let that weaker me win. I let her hold the mic, steer the wheel, and convince me that comfort was safer than growth. But that stronger me, she may have been quiet, waiting, watching, but she never left. She was studying, sharpening, building her power. And now, she's the one I choose. She's the one stepping forward. She's the one running the goddamn show. She wasn't gone, just patient. She sat through every setback, every doubt, every loss, waiting for me to finally wake up and give her the space she always deserved. And now she's here, and she's not going anywhere. That's it for today's Spill in My Cup, ladies. I told my truth. I poured it out. I hope it filled you up in some way. I appreciate you for tuning in, each and every single one of you. Thank you for sharing this space with me. Remember, self-love isn't just a destination. It's a daily choice. And we're in this together every step of the way. Until next time, keep choosing you, keep growing, and most importantly, keep spilling your own cup because your story matters. Love y'all, and I'll see y'all in the next one.
Time's been moving slowly, so we already in too deep. Can't get no sleep on each other, heavy teasing all day, and when the sun sets, you